It is 7 o'clock. It's time to call the Sherwood City Council meeting to order. At this time, I would like to ask Robert Campbell to come forward and do our prayer, please.
Let's all pray. Lord Jesus, we love you and bless you, Lord. We thank you for your love, your mercy, and your goodness. We thank you for this day, Lord. Now we ask that you bless this council meeting, Lord. We pray that you grant wisdom and understanding and compassion, but also leadership. We ask that you bless this group of people, keep them, protect them on their way home this evening. In Jesus' name, amen.
Pledge allegiance.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Brooks? Here. Carmen?
Here.
Lilly?
Here.
McMahon?
Here.
Hyde? Here. Cavalier?
Here.
Sanders?
Here.
Williams?
Here. Approve the minutes of the regular meeting on March 28th, 2016 as transcribed.
So moved.
Second. McMahon?
Aye.
Sanders?
Aye.
Carmen?
Aye.
Cavalier?
Aye.
Williams?
Aye.
Brooks? Aye. Lilly?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. March 2016 financials. Are there any questions or comments? At this time, we'll have the Purple Card City presentation.
Good evening, Mayor Young. If you want, go ahead and read the proclamation.
City of Sherwood Proclamation, whereas first created as the badge of military merit by George Washington in 1782, the Purple Heart is the oldest military decoration presently in use. And whereas the Purple Heart was the first American Service Award or decoration made available to the common soldier and is specifically awarded to any member of the United States Armed Services wounded or killed in combat with a declared enemy of the United States. And whereas many former residents of Sherwood have made the ultimate sacrifice in giving their lives in the cause of freedom, and numerous combat wounded veterans currently reside within the city and contribute to this community in countless ways. And whereas, chartered by an act of Congress, the mission of the Military Order of Purple Heart is to foster an environment of goodwill among the combat wounded veteran members and their families, promote patriotism, support legislative initiatives, and most important, make sure we never forget. And whereas we appreciate the sacrifices our Purple Heart recipients have made in defending our freedoms and believe it is important that we acknowledge them for their courage and show them the support they have earned. And whereas the city wishes to pledge its strong support to the Military Order of the Purple Heart and for those who put their lives at risk in service of their country and their fellow citizens. Now, therefore, I, Mayor Virginia Young, Mayor of Sherwood, Arkansas, proclaim the City of Sherwood as a Purple Heart City. In witness whereof, I have unto set my hand to cause the great seal of the City of Sherwood, Arkansas to be affixed this the 25th day of April, 2016.
Mayor Young, members of the City Council, veterans present, and residents of the great city of Sherwood, it's good to be here tonight. I've got fond memories of Sherwood. This is the city in which I met my wife. I still have family members that live in Sherwood, and they are present tonight. As you just heard in the reading of the proclamation, the Purple Heart is specifically a combat decoration, and it is our nation's oldest military medal. Created by General George Washington in 1782, and originally known as the Badge of Military Merit, it was first awarded to 3 enlisted soldiers in Newburgh, New York, and then unfortunately fell from use shortly thereafter. The award was reestablished in 1932 by the President of the United States per War Department General Orders 3 and renamed the Purple Heart. The criteria for presentation stated it is awarded to members of the United States Armed Forces who are wounded by an instrument of war at the hands of the enemy and posthumously to the next of kin in the name of those who were killed in action or died of wounds received in action. In 1973 and again in 2015, the criteria was amended to include U.S. service members being wounded or killed by attacks or acts committed by terrorist groups against the United States or in countries friendly to the United States. The heritage the Purple Heart Medal represents is sacred to those who understand the price paid to wear it. Established in 1992, the purpose of the Purple Heart Trails and Cities program is to create a symbolic and honorary system of cities, highways, bridges, or other monuments that give tribute to the men and women who have been awarded the Purple Heart Medal. It accomplishes this goal by placing a visual reminder to those who have paid a high price for our freedom to travel and live within a free society. Signs or monuments have been placed at various locations throughout the United States and its territories, designating those cities, highways, bridges where legislation or proclamations have been passed, designating them as part of the Purple Heart Trail or City system. Today, 25 April 2016, on behalf of the Military Order of the Purple Heart, Department of Arkansas, I am honored to have Harry Hoyt, a member of Chapter 431 in Little Rock, who is also a Purple Heart recipient and a longtime Sherwood resident, present to Mayor Young a plaque designating it a Purple Heart City. In addition, I want to thank the City Council and the residents of Sherwood for recognizing the service and sacrifices made by all veterans who have served this great nation and giving special tribute to those awarded the Purple Heart Medal. Thank you, yours in patriotism. Again, Sherwood, thank you for your support to veterans.
Thank you, sir.
As Chuck mentioned, my name is Richard Maxwell. I'm the Senior Vice Commander, Chapter 431 in the Military Order of the Purple Heart. And Sherwood was extra special to me tonight because my CO, the guy that actually pinned or signed the order and pinned my Purple Heart on my chest, is here tonight. He's an officer in your police force, Keith Wilson, back here in the back.
Thank you. Appreciate it very much. At this time, we are going to have Seven Hills Middle School Odyssey of the Mind presentation. If you'd come forward, please. Alderman Williams.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to remind you how important education is to our city because of the growth in the education of our young people. Their success, if y'all just stay right there. We're going to recognize some young people. Odyssey of the Mind is a challenging competition across all the school districts. This group of 7 middle school children won the state and are going to be heading to Iowa in a couple of weeks to go for the nationals to represent our city. Several of the members of this team were here last year when they won the award as an elementary student. So what you need to know is this is Sherwood's finest going to represent our state, and they're from Seven Hills Middle School. Also, it's going to cost them $10,000 to go, so if you have cash or money, their teachers are going to take money tonight before you leave, and I told them I'd say that. So Alderman, get some money out. All right, so I'm going to call your name, and if you'll come forward when I call your name. First name we're going to call is Khadijah Khalik. Tracy Yielding. Tori Taylor. Nicholas Whitehead. Carly Hall. And we want to recognize their coaches, Coach Cindy Taylor and Coach Sam Davis. Okay. Here's at least the first check. Thank you. Okay. Ricky, do you want a picture of the kids? Y'all can, guys, y'all come back this way. Yeah, the coaches that you got is right there.
Taller in the back, shorter. Grouped together, nice, friendly. Stay there.
Committees and or commissions, advertise the promotion commission. We did meet, the minutes are in the packet if anyone has any questions. Since she's usually not here, I do want to publicly thank Diana Price for taking our minutes at every meeting, and she's here tonight, so I want to thank her for all her hard work. We will meet as usual, first Wednesday of the month at the Bill Hartman Rec Center, 3 p.m. Thank you. Civil Service Commission, Parks and Recreation Committee.
Okay, we did meet. Your minutes were at your seat tonight when you got here. If you have any questions, and I guess I need to thank Diana too for taking our minutes. I don't want to be left out. But thank you seriously, Diana, for your hard work for taking our minutes for us and all the hard work you do for the Parks Department. Of course, everybody thinks Sunny does it, but Diana does it actually. But, if you have any questions, otherwise our next meeting will be the second Monday of the month at Bill Harmon Rec Center at 6 o'clock instead of 5 o'clock. 6 o'clock.
Very good, thank you. Personnel Committee?
Yes, we did meet, minutes are in the packet, and Diana, thanks for letting us use your recorder previous meetings. Batteries are dead. Next meeting is scheduled May the 5th at 5 o'clock. We moved the times from 4:30 to 5 o'clock. So.
Very good, thank you. Planning Commission?
Do we have a motion to waive the reading requirement this evening?
So moved. Second.
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
Harmon,
Aye.
Keplinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks,
Aye.
Lilly,
Aye.
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 An ordinance rezoning the property located at Lot 1R Manson Road addition from C3 to C4, amending the zoning map and for other purposes.
Is there anyone here that would like to speak against the zoning? Or comment? Okay. What's the pleasure of the council?
Move for adoption of the ordinance.
Second?
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
Harmon,
Aye.
Keplinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks, Aye. Lilly,
Aye.
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 An ordinance rezoning the property located at 10200 Johnson Road from C2 and R3 to R3 conditional to allow for a municipal library, amending the zoning map and for other purposes.
Move for the adoption of the ordinance.
Second?
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
Harmon,
Aye.
Keplinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks,
Aye.
Lilly,
Aye.
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 An ordinance to abandon a portion of Bentley Road, amending the master street plan and for other purposes.
Is there anyone here that wishes to oppose the proposed ordinance? Any discussion?
Move for the adoption of the ordinance. Second.
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
Harmon,
Aye.
Keplinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks,
Aye.
Lilly,
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. Senior Citizens Committee?
Sewer committee? Street committee?
Street committee did not meet this month. We will meet our regular scheduled time next month.
Thank you.
And an ordinance amending ordinance 729, schedule of uses to allow vehicle rental businesses in a C3 commercial zone as a conditional use, declaring an emergency and for other purposes.
I believe there's someone that wants, Alderman Kepling.
Yes, before I bring Joseph up, you're getting ready to go on up to. I want to apologize to the council for bringing this up last meeting without giving you guys really a heads up. I shouldn't have done that, and I won't do that again. So, basically, what we're trying to do, we're trying to get where they can have rental trucks and trailers there at the new U storage there at North Hills and 107. And what they're planning on doing is having a designated area for returns. Most of the trucks will be behind you. We'll never ever see them. But there was some comments about having the trucks out there in the after hours on Sundays. And I think we'll address that. Jessica, you want to?
Absolutely. So what we propose is just a rental service for our customers. Convenience for them so they don't have to go down the road to a different facility to pick up a truck. Most of the rentals are going to be taking place during normal business hours. Most of the returns take place during normal business hours. And they're all going to be stored and rented from that behind that gate. Some of the concerns were what happens on a Sunday. We only operate 6 days a week. We close on Sundays. So we proposed painting what you see on the second and third page, a designated spot for occasional after-hours drop-offs. And there would be a drop box attached to the building where customers would leave the key. And the customer that would use this designated spot would be your person who didn't get it done unloading at night. Somebody that is coming in on a Saturday evening that is not a customer and can get behind our gate. So any customer that is moving into the storage or out of the storage has access to enter and exit that gated area. They can drop off and pick up their truck from behind there. This orange spot I've highlighted is specifically for a customer who's coming from another town and needing to drop off after hours.
Justin, is it Justin? Joseph, I'm sorry. The question that I have, I shouldn't say we, the question I have about this, I've got a couple. I understand that the need for the U-Hauls as you describe up there and the trailers and everything. And we're saying that all this is going to be behind the gate. How many vehicles are you actually talking about? Are you talking about loading that whole parking lot up with U-Hauls or just a few? Or what are you talking about here?
We've specified that about 4 trucks and 4 trailers at any given time.
Behind the gate?
Behind the gate.
With the exception of these that you're saying that would be dropped off in this zone that you painted orange here. And that's going to take place just on Sundays or from closing time Saturday till opening Monday morning?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yep. Let's get just one more question I have here. In this ordinance, and maybe this can be addressed with an amendment if it need be, but it's got passenger car rental and recreational vehicle rental. Is that something you're wanting to do? Okay, so that doesn't need to be in there.
We're strictly doing or removing equipment.
This ordinance is an ordinance to our zoning regulations. This ordinance does not give them the authority to do anything differently from what they're doing. This ordinance puts vehicle rental businesses in our zoning regs. Once this is done, then they have to come to the planning commission under this new ordinance and apply. All this is doing is saying, okay, we're going to allow vehicle rental, car rental, whatever, as a C3 conditional use in the future. As a conditional use in C3, but conditional meaning you have to come to the council and get it as a conditional use. Planning commission. Planning commission has to be approved by us, don't they?
No, they
No.
go with the planning
They
commission.
just language like, okay, conditional use.
You go ahead.
A question for our attorney. We can't, though, once something like this this is approved, we can't say, okay, you can have 4 trucks, or you can have 3 trucks, or you can have 6 trucks, or you can have 8 trucks, correct?
I think the conditional use gives the planning commission the ability to put limitations on the use.
Wait a minute, since when could the planning commission zone anything?
They're not zoning, they're conditionally, they're, like, if you give the C3 the ability to the umbrella of the vehicle rental business that we're talking here, as a conditional use, the conditions are what the planning commission places on the use.
But we can say how many vehicles this man can use and operate. I mean, that just seems like a big overstepping of telling him how he can run his business to say, you can only have 4 trucks. I mean, once we do this, I would think that that's the kind of, we're opening the door one way or another. It could be less, it could be more.
Well,
right?
It's not unusual for businesses to come to the planning commission and have a discussion just like we're having now and say, we will agree to X number if you'll give us this conditional use, and that is a binding condition to the use. And if they stop that, if they exceed that, that's a violation of the conditional use, and it's rendered subject to being void, or they need to come back and ask for an adjustment on the use. The planning commission will do negotiations, if you will, on fence height on some of the properties that are developed.
I'm going to have to disagree with Mr. Cobb on this. You're mixing variances with conditions. A fence height is variance. A conditional use is, I'm going to have a conditional use vehicle rental business as a conditional use in a C3, which means that this C3 conditional use is vehicle rental business. If I ever stop doing vehicle rentals here for 60 days or more, I lose the right to rent vehicles on this property.
I agree with that.
Okay. Fence heights are variances.
Well, okay, maybe the height is a variance, but sometimes we have conversations at the planning commission level about the type or construction material that there's a range of things that can be considered, and you'll have input from the neighborhood, and people will come in and say, we wouldn't object if it was a brick fence, but we would prefer that it might be a wood fence or something of that nature.
There's difference in putting conditions on the zoning that you're giving someone and actual conditional uses that are placed in the zoning regulation. We're putting these specific conditions. We're going to allow these 4 conditional uses in C3 so that you can come ask for these 4 conditional uses in C3. It's kind of like what we did for
It's what we did for that church on their materials.
I would like to ask our city attorney, Eleanor Bell, to, city engineer. Speaking of attorney, she knows who she is. I'm sorry. This is the debate of attorneys here.
When you allow a conditional use in a certain zoning classification, it is almost like rezoning. You are allowing them to use that use in that zoning classification. And as Charlie stated, it is a use that is therefore allowed. It would be real hard to limit the number of.
Who grants the use of that?
Right.
Who grants that usage?
It would go to the planning commission first, and they would make the recommendation to council. And then it's like any other zone change, the council would have the final.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Mayor, one of the things I remember about the youth storage business is that when they came to us as a city council, one of the things we asked the company at that time was, show us the pictures, show us, we'd like to have a fence, we'd like it high enough to hide the trailers behind it. And from my recollection about the 2 times that company was in front of this council, everything that we asked them to do, they adhered to. The building is beautiful. It sits there. It's met all of our expectations. It's got the fence. It's got everything that we've asked for. So I'm saying, if people are moving it into storage, I'm saying let's give them an opportunity.
I'll agree with you, Alderman Williams. They have really cleaned up that area, and that is the interest to our city. And I'm afraid we're going to start something that we can't stop. And that we let them have these U-Hauls out front. We did talk, Joseph and I talked earlier, and he talked about limiting the number of returns. And that's basically what we're looking at.
Yes.
It's when someone rents one on the weekend and they return it after hours, and it's going to be sitting outside the gate because they can't get it in the gate. And he said he had an option of contacting the corporate office and limiting the number of returns. That might be an option.
So,
Is that correct?
so most of the rentals are going to occur to a customer who's already got a coach to build. They've purchased a storage unit. They're either moving in that weekend or they're moving out. That's 90% of our rentals. That's going to take place. The customer will have access to park that truck back behind the gate. These 4 spots that we propose, that little orange area, is just for the occasional customer who comes in from Dallas, from Conway, and has unloaded at their home maybe and needs a spot. It's to take care of that one or two a weekend that couldn't make it to my store by 4. Not every customer, and not even current customers. Current customers will have access to and from the gated area.
I think it's a satisfactory I was concerned about this last time. I think it's a satisfactory compromise. It puts the trucks far enough away from the highway for me, number one, that are being returned after hours. And I think a lot, I hope your business is extremely successful, but, we have a large U-Haul facility that's next to the freeway. A lot of the trucks that are simply going to be returned because somebody's returning after hours are going to be returned, I think, at the freeway location. It's not the only location we have to return trucks in the city. And I even think that location is open 7 days a week. So, if somebody's going to be calling around to find a place to return a truck on a Sunday, they're going to first try to find a place that's open to return. So we do have a U-Haul facility that's open on Sundays. And the fact that the trucks that you have for rent are going to be behind the fence, my concerns are alleviated with this.
So you have a contract with that U-Haul to where they can return their trucks at the other facility?
A customer is, if they're coming in from another town, a customer can return a truck wherever they please.
Wherever they want to.
Wherever they please.
So
Accessions.
why could they not then just return them there then? But if that one's open 7 days a week, why can't the rule then be that you return at that facility instead of?
That could be an inconvenience to the customer, and it's occasional 1 or 2 trucks. We're not a U-Haul dealership. We're not trying to be that. We're a small neighborhood convenience service. So I do want to allocate a spot so that the customers that do come in from another town do have that option, but it's definitely very limited. And like I told Mr. Brooks, there is a limit that we can control. I can't always control the time of day that somebody returns, but I can limit the number of the volume of equipment that I receive.
And I can see where he wants somebody who comes in on Sunday and what they're unloading in one of his units, because you have 7-day, 24-hour access to the units in their facility. So even though they come in on Sunday when he's closed, you still have these large glass doors on either side where you can go and you can get into his facility and unload the truck. Even though he's closed, you can still unload the truck, put it in your storage unit, and then park it over in that spot and leave it there, rather than having to unload it, use storage, and drop off down the street.
But wouldn't that person?
Customer has a code, they can also park it behind the unit. So
And if they've got a code, there you go. If they've got a
Right,
code.
so I'm not really understanding then why we're needing it out front. It seems like they could either be behind the gate or they could be.
It would be like, let's just say, for instance, I rented a truck in Texarkana to bring some stuff up from Texarkana, and I don't even have a place at this storage. I'm just bringing it to my home, and I load it at my home that night, and I say, oh, I don't want this U-Haul in front of my house tonight. I'm going to take it to the nearest U-Haul place and drop it off, and you can do that. You don't have to drop it off you're renting a one-way rental, you can drop it off wherever there's a U-Haul franchise. And when you rent the truck, they tell you where you can drop it off. That would be my concern if you did limit the number, with the corporate office. Is that something they would stick with if people just saw, hey, I see other U-Hauls parked here, let me park my U-Haul here?
Sure. I think it's us being such a low volume of of renters and returners that there's 90% of our volume is going to be to and from the gate as customers. It's really on an average 1 to 2 trucks a weekend.
So you're gonna have a truck parked there, 1 or 2 trucks parked there every weekend is what you're telling me?
Actually, I would hate to say that I could limit that. What I know is that 1 to 2 average returns are made after hours out on Saturday after 4 to Monday morning before 9, and that's the number that I do know.
So again, I mean, what we're looking at is 1 or 2 trucks sitting there every Saturday after 4 until sometime Monday, is what we're looking at. I'll tell you, my struggle with this whole thing is just, I mean, it truly is the view. I mean, there's been a lot of money spent, catty corner across the intersection from you to put up Eagle Bank and to redo that. The corner, straight across is, new buildings and it just really starting to look good there. And then to have, a U-Haul truck sitting there, 1 or 2, just about every weekend, I really struggle with that.
Yeah, but part of the reason it looks so good there is because of the money he spent on that building.
I agree with that. Yeah.
I hear you, I do, and I would hate for him to detract away from what he's already done.
And I don't think, from the idea, I think, Kevin, that's the area we were talking about last month, but I think this idea about that it's so many of the people that would be behind the gate, and it's limited, it's conditional.
Once we say, okay, we can't just say, hey man, I'm sorry, you got 4 or 5 trucks, I want to take it back. We can't do that.
No, and it's not even like we can say, okay, you can only own 4 trucks, because as Marina said, other people can then drop their U-Hauls off there too. I don't know how we as a city are going to be able to regulate that.
This is a typical zoning issue where we have to zone on faith. We have to trust that, we're making the right decision for the property. But I think that he's invested a lot of money in this property that was an eyesore for years and years and years and years and vacant for years and years and years and years. And I think we have to take on faith that, we're doing the right thing. I think I'm comfortable voting for it, that it's the right thing to keep him there, keep that property there, and let him have the U-Haul trucks in addition to what he's doing with that space. I like the fact that he's putting them back away from the highways, a long way away from the highway, back to the back of the property, and keep that investment there, keep that good-looking building there, and keep him as a corporate, resident of the city.
I've talked with the owner quite a bit. He spent over $3 million on that property. He doesn't want it to look crappy either. He wants the place to look good, because the nicer it looks, the more businesses he's going to get into. So I don't think we're going to have a problem at all with trucks like that. So if nobody else did, I'll make a motion that we.
No, I've got another comment I want to make, and I understand this is conditional, okay, and it's got to go through the planning committee and then also come to the council is the way I'm understanding it now. But once, I mean, this is for all C3. This isn't just for that one property. So that's a concern as well. And once you open that up and you allow that to happen, then what basis do you have for the next person who comes along and wants the same things to say no?
We have, because it's conditional use, we have the right to look at every single application on a case-by-case basis. We can tell them on a case-by-case basis, yes, no, that's what conditional use means. And everyone has to come and ask individually for this type of use. It's not C3 across the board. It is, there's lots of conditional uses in the zoning, but they have to come and ask for that specific conditional use. So anybody else that comes C3 that wants to have a vehicle rental business, they have to come to the council and ask for this use. That's why I wanted to make sure we had that straight before we went any further.
But what basis do you say no?
Right.
I mean, before you open yourself up to other issues.
And this is
I'm not an
this is
attorney, I
not
don't
just
know.
a specific property issue. We're talking about, as Kevin's saying, changing everything in terms of, and we're also going to lose a certain amount of control too. The planning commission now can.
There are lots of bases for saying no. For instance, we have not a single adjacent property owner that has objected to this application. We have not a single adjacent property owner or anywhere near that has to the application would be a basis for it. There's lots of bases for rejecting another application, but every single application stands on its own.
It hasn't been made application yet.
But I know they haven't made an application, but I mean, everybody knows why it's here. Yeah. I mean, yeah, that knows it's 70%. Yeah, I get the point. I get your point. But, and that's another point here. She's got a good point. He has to go before the planning commission with this, and you may have a property owner object. And if the property owner objects, then you got another whole other issue then. So just because we put it in the ordinance doesn't mean that he gets it. And that's another question I had. We're just putting this in C3, whereas we have rental businesses in C4. Shouldn't this say C3 and C4? We have, don't we have enterprise rental car in C4? Isn't that in Sherwood?
That's all.
That used to be.
Yeah, we've corrected that. We made it C4. We passed that last month, yes.
Okay. All right, we made it C4, so C3 is the only one we're fixing. But, so anyway, I'm not, that doesn't really concern me, because like I said, there is existing law that each conditional application stands on its own. But, and then again, all we're doing tonight is putting it in the ordinance that they have a right to make an application.
I think that the only drawback I have to it is the idea that it's going into C3 and it's open for anybody, even though they make application, they have an option to say, well, you did it for them, why don't you do it for me? So, I do have that issue with it. However, I think with all the discussion we've had on this, I think Joseph is well aware the intent of what we're wanting here. We're not wanting U-Hauls strung all over that parking lot up there. Correct. And I think if we have that assurance as much as possible that there's only going to be 2-3 trucks at the most, that you can limit that at some point. I really wouldn't have an issue, because I don't want to let our businesses think that we're so stringent that we have to curtail everything they want to do. And like I said, I agree with all of y'all, if you spend a lot of money to make that lot look nice, there's a couple things I'd like to do to prevent some things that's going on that lot at some point. So I'm changed from where I was last month. I'd like to see us go ahead and pass this, and then we'll just have to ride, see how it goes. Because it is conditional use, am I right? Which means it can be withdrawn. Well, changes the ordinance.
It changes the whole ordinance. It means that each applicant comes as a case by case
Each
basis.
applicant comes, there you go, case by case.
This doesn't even really solve his issue, because he still has to come back now. This is just, what's it planning, not to us.
Right. We'll see him again.
So in the application process then, it's approved, and he comes and says, hey, I want to have a conditional use for this, based on the amended ordinance 729, and we get approved. How do we limit, U-Hauls? How do we limit, instead, hey, I'm permitted to be here, I'll go ahead and bring in a few rental cars too. And, once you permit it, you permit it. You can't turn around and go, oops, that's not what I meant.
Who determines the conditional use?
His
The planning commission?
His application would
Right.
be, his application would have to be for truck rental and leasing, probably, I assume, and utility trailer and recreational vehicle. I don't know how that.
I would have asked, who makes that decision?
We
Stated earlier, it goes to the planning commission if they recommend.
I thought it's the planning commission.
Then it comes to the city
Then it comes
council.
to the council. Planning commission makes a recommendation, just like any other zoning, and it comes to us for final decision. It's a zoning. So it comes to us. We make the final decision.
I'd like to make a motion to pass this ordinance.
I'll second it.
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders, Harmon,
Aye.
Keplinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks,
No.
Lily,
No.
Hyde.
No.
503.
There's an emergency.
Is there? Yeah, there's emergency.
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders, Harmon,
Aye.
Keplinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks,
No.
Lily,
No.
Hyde.
No.
expenses incurred as a result of the city's previous commitment to participate in the Federal Emergency Management Administration buyout program and for other purposes.
Is there any questions of the council regarding what this is for?
Move for the adoption of the ordinance.
Second.
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
Harmon,
Aye.
Keplinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks,
Aye.
Lilly,
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
A resolution expressing the willingness of the city of Sherwood, Arkansas to utilize federal aid recreational trails fund.
This is just committing if we receive the grant that we will support it for 20% of matching funds.
Move for adoption.
Second.
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
Harmon,
Aye.
Keplinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks,
Aye.
Lilly,
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
A resolution finding the structure located at 12 Cherrywood Place. Cherry Ridge Place, thank you. Lot 69 of the Cedar Ridge Division to constitute a public nuisance.
Is there anyone here to speak on behalf of 12 Cherry Ridge Place? Would you come forward, please? Would you like to speak?
My name's Norma Conley, my husband Don Conley, and my daughter Shannon. Our daughter Shannon. We bought this house in 1983 when we moved here.
Excuse me. My husband was in the Air Force. He's since retired. While he was working here, I became a federal employee, and I had the chance to retire in 2009. Retirement didn't go like I had planned. I was diagnosed soon after with cancer. Not just one, but 3. That's kept us very busy and taken a lot of expenses. And right now we're in Oklahoma because that's where my job was that I retired from. So we didn't get to come up here as often as possible as we needed to. But we had people mowing the grass for us and keeping it up. And our neighbors, Dan and Ida Bernal, they've lived behind us the whole time and great friends. So they know we're not deadbeats or bad people. My daughter and son was up mowing the grass yesterday, cleaning the yard up. Because our plans right now is to move back to this area because we live in a very remote area in Oklahoma where, home is, they say you can never go home again, and boy, that's right. Sometimes you forget why you left, but you remember after being there a while. But there's no medical facilities 2 or 3 hours away. And Don is my husband. He's had major heart surgery these past few years, and so it's been very difficult. But we're getting stronger, and we're wanting to make a change, and we're wanting to redo the house. We completely redid the inside when we were in 1983. Of course, it's a little dated now, but we want to, revamp it and make it something we will enjoy living in. But I just wanted to let you know that's why it's been vacant. I figure it will take us 3 to 4 months to do what we want to do.
Thank you very much for your comments. I'd like to move that we table this till October, give them some time.
Well, I just need to hear from Ellen.
Just a moment, I do have some, did you notice the first building that has been contaminated since 2009?
Code enforcement officer probably needs to make a present.
I would like to hear from our code enforcement. I'd like to hear some of the history.
I was going to ask one question. Have you been in contact with our code enforcement person?
I was when the code enforcement person changed. I used to talk to Scott Kelly, as you know.
Oh my goodness, that was a long time ago.
Yeah, a long time ago. He had my name. My daughter said that someone told her yesterday that they'd sent several notices. We've received nothing. And that my trip tomorrow will be to the post office to find out why, because our neighbors pick up our mail for us. And so they just get delivery. I don't know why, but I need to find that out.
Okay.
But if we had received something, we would have definitely been back in touch with you.
I would like to ask our code enforcement. I still want to hear some of the history from the code enforcement department. We have not been having condemnations. We've really worked a lot. Sheila, if you come forward, I know our code enforcement has worked extensively with property owners to try to resolve these issues. That's why we haven't. We have resolved a lot of problems. But I want to hear the history on this.
Okay,
Y'all pick up Mike.
here, I'll share my place.
Do have a presentation we can turn on that you do have a package in front of you. This property was actually contaminated with a methamphetamine lab, and it was reported to ADQ on 3/23 of 09, and it's still listed on ADQ's website as a contaminated property. Lieutenant Harper, who is here tonight, said that he could speak to, he was actually there when this lab was, basically the police department was there and found this lab at this property. We declared this property unsafe and unfit for human habitation 6/22/15, which was last year. This was out after numerous complaints from neighbors in the neighborhood. I would have had no idea that this property was contaminated until one of the neighbors called and complained and said, why do we have to sit here and continually have this piece of vacant property that nobody takes care of in our neighborhood? So I did my due diligence and checked through ADQ's website to make sure that what I was being told was actually a truth, and found that to be so. The mail was sent to Mr. and Mrs. Connolly at the listed address through the tax assessor's office, the treasurer's office. Everything goes back to that property that's in their name. The mortgage company is Wells Fargo Mortgage Company. They were also notified. They did sign for their mail. We have not heard anything from the mortgage company other than the letter that they sent to the Connollys, which they sent to the 12 Cherry Ridge address. Didn't send it, so we had no other address to send it to, and legally, as long as we send it to the last known address of the owners of record, then we have done our due diligence. I will say that I did take a little extra time and tried to find them through internet type searches, and I could not locate where they may be living. The taxes are current on the property. The city does have the lien current on the property for cleanup from last year. We did issue a notice to repair or demolish, which was mailed to them 6/23/15, and no response from anybody. Then we sent this notice of condemnation, was mailed to everyone via certified mail, and was also posted on the property. Wells Fargo signed for theirs, and again, as I said, their only response was to CC the city a letter that they had sent to the Connollys at the 12 Cherry Ridge Place address. So we had no knowledge of where the Connollys were. We had no knowledge of. I talked to one neighbor on several occasions when I was out there. I was told they were in Colorado. So You know, I mean, as far as actually being able to find out where they were at, I had no idea.
So we didn't have any notes from Scott Kelly's file where he had been talking to him or anything?
I did not find anything on this address at all.
Are you all, the homeowners, aware of what it takes to clean up a home that was a meth lab? I mean, this is not a couple of month type of a thing. This is a completely down to the studs.
I do understand.
Very expensive, and you have to have special suits and masks and everything else. Usually a professional company has to go in and do it in order for it to get recertified to be habitable by anybody.
There is a lot of issues that I need to talk to someone about that very matter, because I don't believe any of what you have here, and the people that came in to check the property went in without me being there. When I had made an appointment with them, they broke into my house, went in, and when we arrived, they were exiting the property. Now, to me, that's not someone being on the up and up, and I have a real problem with that. But no, I don't want to live somewhere that's contaminated, and I've been researching things. I understand it, but
I would like to say to the council and to the mayor, I've dealt with many properties that have been contaminated. I do understand the process, and I do understand the cost involved and what all is involved. It is required to have a licensed environmental company to actually go in. They will test the property first to see what type of contamination they have. That alone in itself is anywhere from $500 up, depending on how many samples that they take. After they do the testing, what they do then is they will come back with a report of what levels and where they're at in all the different rooms as to what has to be torn out. And most of the time, it basically has to be gutted. And then at that point, they have to, in the gutting, they have to take certain precautions. There's a certain way that the materials have to be handled, how they have to be disposed of, what type of landfill that they go to. It's a very, very expensive process. It's not simply just going in and fixing some soffit and fascia and, a few things like that. It's going to take a small amount of time just to decontaminate a piece of property. Usually by a company, a licensed company, even with the testing and then the retesting after the decontamination to make sure that they've gotten everything. You're looking, we had one home in Little Rock that the bank had to pay $60,000 to decontaminate. We've had some less, but that was just a normal house.
And those, correct me if I'm wrong, but you can't even demolish those houses until they've been decontaminated either. I mean, because you can't knock down a house that has.
It has to have, there is a special process that we have to go through for demolition on that as well.
That's what I thought. You have to take the contaminated material out first.
They can actually treat it basically what we call as hot, where they'll encapsulate a certain portion of it, and they will encapsulate their dump trucks and that kind of thing. And they will have someone monitoring on site with everything that is taken.
It's a lot more expensive demolition than a regular demolition is.
Yes, it is.
So whatever you do with the house is more expensive.
So, just out of curiosity, obviously been trying to get in touch with you guys for a while. How did y'all come to be aware that this was on the agenda tonight? How did that make its way to you?
My daughter and son were out mowing the grass, and I think 3 people came by yesterday. I thought it was turned on Sunday. They came by yesterday, and one of them told me, we're fixing to bulldoze your house down and send you the bill. And they're like, what? What are you talking about?
I don't know who they
Was told.
I think some of the council members went out and were looking at the different properties to see what they look like.
Several of us, we didn't know we had this packet today, so we wanted to go see the property. And
I give her a card and
yeah,
so you can make contact.
Right.
'Cause we don't want to tear down anybody's house. I mean, that is the last thing we want to do. But But if the house is in bad shape, the way, and looking at the pictures,
Well, you were out there, how did you look in person?
I didn't go inside. I was on the front with, and the daughter, I can't remember her name, Shannon, and her brother was mowing the grass, and the grass really needed to be cut. And they were covered in grass clippings when we drove up, and they were trying to get it in shape, but we did not go inside. And now that I found it was a meth house, I'm glad I didn't. But we don't want to do that. I mean, we really don't want to do it, but, your neighbors, and if it's contaminated, and the cost that would be to rehab that, let's say we took this off the agenda or give you a stay on it, how much time would you suspect before you could have this done? Because it's not something that you're going to be able to do in a week or a month or so.
Do you have what it's tested?
No,
Well, it's going to have to. I mean, you're going to have a company come in who deals with that. With the what did you say? The meth free. Environmental company comes in and renovates that.
I would like to say this property has been in this condition since '09. I have a hard time believing that the owners have not been aware that this property has been contaminated for this amount of time.
Is there mold in the property also? Since it's been sitting vacant for that long?
Can I please say something? This house needs to be reevaluated. The people that did it before, I don't trust them. They didn't do anything right that they were supposed to do. We did provide our phone number and address to code before. We have made phone calls at different times. It's been quite a while, and we didn't get calls back. We have tried to provide information, and regardless of what this says, we have been there time to time, or we have sent somebody there time to time. We have paid people to cut the grass and take care of the landscaping. Unfortunately, this year so far, the person who's supposed to do it has not showed up. Now, we need to have the house reevaluated before you start saying that it's all contaminated, because it was never legally done.
We're not the ones saying the house is contaminated, Mr. Conley. We're the ones saying that the house is unfit for human habitation, and that it's subject to condemnation. And what we're about to do is either condemn the house, and then you have 30 days to either do something with it, or we have to do something with it, and we don't want to do anything with that.
Well, and that's one point I'd like to make. We may need to give some more time because
That's what I'm fixing
we don't want to.
That's what I was fixing to
We
say.
need our money back.
We don't want to condemn that.
So, but we've got to have a plan.
But we got to have a plan from you guys.
Absolutely.
And that's what he was asking you. We would need a plan from you guys. I don't want a plan. I don't want to hear we don't like the guy that came in and we didn't like him. He didn't do it fair. He wasn't fair to us and everything else. We need a plan, a hard down plan. We will in the next 90 days get somebody in and get them working on decontaminating the house and start working on getting it back rehabbed, and within 90 days, if it's not done, we're gonna condemn your house.
And the problem too is it's not us. ADEQ has said. Okay, so this is a government way beyond us. The state has already come in and has already declared these things, and that has been in place since '09.
But that's based on that report.
They have to do more than just a report. They have to have testing, and they have to be able to back up. They just can't randomly go
How could they
in.
do that if they were never able to get into the house?
Your
They
wife
would
said
have to break in the house to
Well,
get in.
that's what they did do.
They did go in the house, but
Okay, then they don't come into our house illegally.
You're talking about legality in a situation
I mean,
where
and so, are you all standing up here today saying you're willing to pour $60,000 into this house?
Unlawful. We can't do that. We can't afford that. I mean, but
project to where you are going to have to hire professionals at a very expensive cost to be able to come in and be able to do this in order. I mean, you could go in and y'all could personally rehab it, your health may be in danger, but y'all can do that, but then nobody can live in it. So now you're pouring all this money into a home that nobody would ever be able to move into, unless you have to go through all these hoops that the government's gonna require you to go through. It's not us, this is the government, this is beyond us.
We understand that, we really do. But first thing I would want to have done is have the house retested. I don't believe that it was that way, even though the state did.
And that's,
In 2009, there was no way for them to get in.
that's a fine first step. That's a fine first step.
So I'd like to table this for, until our next meeting, give y'all an opportunity to come up with a plan, show some progress. And, I mean, we're obviously not gonna come to a firm, this is where, they're not gonna have a plan tonight. And I don't think anyone's willing to condemn it and demolish it
I'll
tomorrow.
second that.
So,
Yeah,
I'd like to table it.
I think that you definitely need to get it retested and then be back in this council next month.
But
You gotta have proof.
hold on
We
just
got
a
a
moment.
motion and a second on the floor. that we need
Just
to
a
vote on.
moment. If we do table this, and then we try to move, we come back next month and nothing has been done, do we have to re-advertise all this for the condemnation again? No.
I don't think so, it's because it's before us tonight. We're tabling it for 30 days. We're tabling it.
Yeah, it's still on the agenda. It's still on.
But as far as the legality of it, advertisement.
They're here, they know.
I just wanna make
in the
sure.
record.
We can condemn it next month if we table it till next month.
But what I want to make perfectly clear with the Conleys, because I want to say to you that I think it's fortunate that Austin and Shannon were there yesterday mowing the grass, because this vote would have been, I think, unanimous tonight had you not shown up, and I think that was the message that we gave Austin and Shannon, and because I don't ever want to, I've been on city council 16 months, and this is the first time condemnation has been before me, so we decided that I'm going to go see with my own eyes. Someone's going to say this house needs to be destroyed. I want to see with my own eyes, not take someone else's word for it. Very fortunate your children were there yesterday mowing the grass, because the vote would have been unanimous. Had you
Call
not
the
been-
question.
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders, Harmon,
Aye.
Kettlinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks,
Aye.
Lily,
Aye.
Aye.
A resolution finding the structure located at 89 Brooks Lane to constitute a public nuisance.
Is there anyone here to speak in regards to 89 Brooks Lane? If you are, please come forward. You're here tonight. I don't recognize anyone coming forward. Move for adoption of the resolution.
Second.
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders, Harmon,
Aye.
Kettlinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks,
Aye.
Lily,
Aye.
Aye.
A resolution finding the structure located at 208 Kelso Road, also known as Lot 105, which is the Meadows, to constitute a public nuisance.
Is there anyone here tonight representing 208 Kelso Road?
Move the adoption of the
Second.
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
Harmon,
Aye.
Kettlinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks,
Aye.
Lily,
Aye.
Aye.
A resolution finding the structure located at 1012 Country Club Road, also known as Lot 7, Block 324, in Parkville, yes, to constitute a public nuisance.
Comment first. There's two buildings on that property. I'd like to make sure this includes all buildings on that property.
Anytime that we're considering a demolition, we're gonna take all the accessory structures as well as the
Okay.
actual
Point
structure.
of clarity, that's all I need. Thank you.
This place is a mess.
Is there any here? Hold on, yes. Is there anyone here from 1012 Country Club Road to represent the property? I see none. Move for adoption. Second.
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
Harmon,
Aye.
Kettlinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks,
Aye.
Lily,
Aye.
Aye.
Resolution finding the structure located at 7009 Lida Lane, to constitute a public nuisance.
Is there anyone here from 7009 Lida Lane?
Move for the adoption.
Second.
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
Harmon,
Aye.
Kettlinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks,
Aye.
Lily,
Aye.
Aye.
Mayor, that is the agenda.
Okay, let's change the order of service. Tonight, we have a representative from architectural firm that's going to show us some proposed or current to date site preparation for a new library. While they're coming forward to give us that presentation, I would like to take the opportunity to introduce Nate Coulter, who is the new CALS director. Would you stand up, Mr. Coulter, please? I believe this is your first city council with us.
It is. I'm glad to be here. Thank you.
Welcome. Thank you for coming tonight. Gentlemen.
Thank you, Mayor and Alderman. It's a pleasure to be here in front of you tonight, finally, to present our schematic design presentation for the new library. You guys have chosen an excellent site, and I think our designs respond well to the site. I'll show you that tonight. Over the last couple months, we've been doing due diligence to help the city close out the property, and it's a close now.
It is close.
Great. So, I'm Bill Gray. I'm president of Taggart Architects. I'm turning the presentation over to Alan New, who's a partner and our lead designer. And Alan.
Thank you. I'd like to also recognize Steve Grisham and Shannon Sanders in the audience from our firm as well. And with any further ado, here we are. I would like you guys to indulge me. There are certain drawings here that may appear small that I would like to come up and point to the screen, if that's okay with you. The site, as we know, is located on Johnson Road at the intersection of 107. This is Silver Hills Middle School. The site is here. It's an interesting site. It has a lot of challenges and opportunities. It slopes from the street backwards towards a beautiful ravine in the back, which we hope to take advantage of. We think it's a wonderful site. It's undisturbed. We really want to have a building that blends with nature, that's part of the nature, that actually reaches out to it, and really utilize that for nature trips. If we go back, I'll toggle back one. You see the outline of the site in red. I'll go forward one more time. That's the outline of the site there in the green with Johnson Road to the south of the building. And as you can see, the parking lot is undulated, and one of the things we're thinking of doing with the trees, we want to preserve as many trees as possible. So we're actually placing the parking within specific trees. We have a tree survey that we've had done, that we've placed the parking lot within, but I think once on the site, we're actually going to lay it out. We may select a few trees that preserve. This may be fluid in this process, because again, we want this to be the most naturalistic, beautiful facility that we can provide for your city. As I come up again, you can enter either way. There's a book drop-off here that also provides access to the service of the building, which is located here. The building kind of splays out, and we really want to take advantage of the site. Because the tempo is kind of level right here, and then it drops off steeply, we wanted to place certain elements of the building on the ground and let the reading room kind of cantilever out over the hill. So the reading room is actually hanging out over the hill. So at tree level, when you're looking at books and reading books and checking things out and studying, you are actually at mid-level of the trees. Next drawing is it shows the primary entry to the project. You would enter into a vestibule which has the museum component, which was asked for in our focus group meetings. This element here is also kind of separated from the rest of the building, which could be used for after-hour functions. This has a secured lobby. You can come in here. It has restrooms, a family toilet, a vending area, a catering, serving area, and storage for your meeting component here. So after hours, that portion of the building could be used for the community. It can be safe and secure from the rest of the building, so that becomes a public function for the building. As you come in, the main read desk, circulation desk is here. The teen area here, which was another component that was asked for in our focus groups, that area is readily viewable, intentionally viewable from the circulation desk to teens. I was a teen once. And the children's area here is too, readily viewable from the circulation desk for control. We think it's a good synergistic point for the building and the reading room thrust out over the topography we floated these kind of individual study rooms and this other group study room that seats 8 to 10 people, which was another component asked for in our focus group. Excuse me, I'm just getting over a cold. The public areas as well have access to a terrace that wraps around the building. It's accessible from the main reading room and also from the after-hour function. And the children's area has access to a terrace, and each has steps down to the walking trails as well as to the amphitheater we have at the outside end of the building. This is a three-dimensional view of the project. Amy Sanders Library, as you can see that is shown on the plinth of the building. Again, to orient you, main entry to the building, the public function, the reading room, kind of hovering up over the topography, the administration and the service area to the right. We wanted this building to feel community, a civic building. We wanted to use materials that were indigenous to the site, natural stones. We wanted to have a rustic feeling from the outside, but once you crossed the threshold, you were into a contemporary building that still had elements of rusticism to it. That's a view, kind of an aerial shot looking back towards the building as it hovers over the site, and then the amphitheater below the building in the lower left slide that has a connectivity to the main reading space. The view on the lower right is our intended view of the reading room.
How many people can be seated in both the public room that you were talking about that's going to be locked off, that peachy color on the front left?
About 66.
About 60?
Yes, ma'am.
And the reading room can seat about how many?
You know, I don't have that number at hand.
I mean, I know it's all free flow.
Depends on what we do with this shelving and all, but, you know, there's gonna be other seating in there that's not shown right now, and we'll develop that furniture layout as we continue to design.
Which, you know, it is a building of assembly, but it's not a building of assembly. Right. As you know.
Very good.
There'll be reading areas, you know, kind of interspersed around, throughout the reading.
Does the amphitheater have a stage below the steps?
It does. It does. If I could go back, maybe pick it up in the, you can't really see it.
I see the steps, I just didn't see
the
them.
steps and the stage is here. And it's the stage that the same material as the building, at the platform that the building sits on. And the steps could be wood timbers with lawn, grass in them. So it's something you can just kind of lay back and enjoy shopping. Any questions? What do you got added in? I think next week, I think so.
Next week.
Yeah. My question was on how many computer terminals or for public access are you going to have, since that was an issue at this library over here, is there's always a wait for the computer.
You know, Jennifer, I think that's an operational question. Do you have an answer to that?
I believe that we would have, that we have different computers with different uses, but I would think for the internet, we would probably have somewhere in the neighborhood of 12, and then that would be supplemented by laptop checkout that would take place within the building. Jan, how many do you have right now? How many?
We only have 6.
Okay.
I'd like to see more, make sure you have the wiring for more.
Wi-Fi.
That's not enough. More Wi-Fi, more.
Yeah.
Or optic, please. That's not enough. We purposely put it by the schools. You have 1,600 people at the high school, 13 at the middle school, which is right across the street. We need more than 12. Now, I know that they are going to have Chromebooks. They all have their own Chromebooks.
Yes.
So that's nice, but that's the child. But they have that family that comes in, they're not going to have the Chromebook possibly.
And we need the Wi-Fi. We need the Wi-Fi available everywhere. If we have seating
Absolutely.
outside, we need the Wi-Fi available outside. We need the Wi-Fi.
If we're going to enjoy the lawn, let's use the lawn.
Can the outside amphitheater area be expanded? Because, you know, they have huge crowds of kids else when they do outdoor programming and so forth. And I'm just thinking if it only, 66, not that that's only, but I could anticipate needing more space than that in terms of seating for kids or
The
adults.
meeting room is 66, the amphitheater could be open. It's, as you can see, these are the bench seats that we're saying that made the wood timbers and the grass. But literally, people could sit all around here within the woods and if there's a play or an event or music group or after hour event, movies in the park. Like 200 or 300. Yep, it could be.
Okay.
As many as
Looks
you have
good.
restrooms for.
Do we have outdoor access to restrooms?
You have again.
We are now a city.
You would have to monitor it, but the restrooms are part of the after-hour function, so they could be accessible via the terrace that's in the upper right-hand corner, that glass box. That terrace, that room opens up to that terrace, so you could have an event that had access to the restroom. Again, that's an operational deal. You would have to coordinate with the library. I think Nate said he would be willing to come in after hours and run this facility.
Yeah. That's within my skill set. So
Anything I can do to help you out, it'll be good.
Well, speak for myself, I think you've done a great job on it. And I hate to put you on a spot now, but what kind of time frame are we looking before we can get some plans so we can get it out to bid?
Steve, why don't you come up and address? Steve's the project manager.
One more question now, before you go on to that, because I think the point's valid. Are we gonna have, the access from any level, because this is almost like a tri-level here?
Well, it's really the building is on one level, and the building's all on one level, and the grade is multi-tiered, because we didn't want to disturb it. You know, you could take the approach that you level it, and you make everything all on one level.
No, I like that.
And we thought this was too special for you guys to do that.
Will it be ADA?
With the the building, absolutely, ADA will have to have switchbacks, so.
Okay.
They would eventually, it has to be, absolutely. So your question about schedule?
Thanks a lot.
Sure.
Well, of course, a lot hinges on what happens tonight, and depending on whether y'all approve the design, of course, we'll move forward. But if you do, and we're kind of looking at probably 8 to 10 weeks to do production on it, as far as meeting with our engineers, getting everything coordinated, the MEP system, structure, and all that. It'll probably take 3 to 4 weeks to bid it, and then whatever process after that, a week or two for negotiation. So I would think, what do you think? August, September, maybe? Turn third, maybe, possibly.
Yeah,
Which would be a good time. August, we should be able to start construction. Be better to start before winter. But right now, that's kind of what we're thinking if you all move forward tonight. We're prepared to move, for this to immediately.
The only thing I would ask is if it's even possible, but it would be nice for there to be able to have an outdoor function potentially without the whole building necessarily being open. And so that's why I asked if it would be possible to have a restroom facility that could be accessible without the entire building being open and available, just to give potential more uses type of a thing.
Well, we have this right here. These restrooms are right here. That's the family restrooms, the male and female restrooms. This part of the building could be completely closed.
Okay.
This would be open, so that again would be an after-hour function. Somebody would have to man if there's an event there. You have a door here that accesses the terrace that will take you to the amphitheater. Or if there's just an event going on here publicly, everyone has access to the restroom. And then when it's off during day-to-day operations, during the usual business, these doors will be open and everybody uses the same restroom. They're upsized to handle that crowd for that multi-purpose room. So yes, to answer your question a long way, you can shut the building down except for this suite.
That's the only restrooms in the whole building?
Well, the staff has a restroom and a shower. Yes, those are the only restrooms.
And how many? Yes.
There are 3 men's and 3 women's and a family restroom and a staff restroom.
Where is that woman architect? Where is that involved?
Well, it's just if you have a large function.
Well, we understand. And
front library? Two,
98.
I mean, two each.
We have two in the front of the building, one female and one male, and then one in the meeting room.
And you're also gonna have a family,
Yeah, well,
so there's more than just,
we're code compliant. If you
With
want to
square
go
foot-
up
by square
more,
footage.
we're code compliant for square footage and function. If you want to go up more, that would be a request from you, and we would plan to accommodate.
That's really a plentiful amount, really, for this size of building.
I don't think there really has to be a vote tonight, but if there's, doesn't seem to be any major concerns.
What type of material will this be made out of?
Need a blessing, but.
I motion to continue the project as presented would be appropriate.
I so moved.
Ken's got a question. Ken had a question.
What type of materials? You said natural. Are we talking stone or what?
That would be a natural stone in the face and the obviously glass and an aluminum composite panel in the back, which the building, the Axion building in Little Rock, I think we're all aware of that. It's a metal panel. It's just a nice surface, and we would pick a compatible color to go with the stone. We selected to be harmonious.
I second Beverly's motion to approve this.
McMahon,
Aye.
Sanders,
Aye.
Harmon,
Aye.
Peplinger,
Aye.
Williams,
Aye.
Brooks,
Aye.
Lilly,
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. We're excited about it.
Such a great organization.
Excited. Any more old business?
This is on your laptop, so if you need an access, need a printer, I'm sure.
Oh, great.
This young man here can help you out.
Yep.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're available for any other questions.
We
Thank you.
appreciate it.
Thank you.
Is there any more old business? New business. Mayor, there are several residents that decided to speak tonight on an issue that's on Lee Avenue, and I think they've already signed up. They're on the list here. So while our city clerk is bringing the list, I'll call your name as it's listed on the list. I just ask that, where's the list? As you come up to speak,
I bet the Conley took it. I bet somebody got it there, yeah. I bet the Conley family took it when they left.
okay. If you've signed up, you know that you have. If you just go ahead and come forward, you're allowed 5 minutes per person, but we do ask that if someone prior to you coming to speak has already stated the same information, that you would not reiterate the same information. But as you come forward, please state your name so it can be entered into the record.
I'm gonna make this short. Mayor Young, city council members, and Sherwood city leaders. My name is Esther Norman. I live at 8103 Marywood Place. And I have property at 1104 Eastleigh Avenue. It's at the corner of Marywood Place and Eastleigh Avenue. Both properties border 1010 Eastleigh. We have lived there for 30 years. I am here this evening to speak on my behalf and in support of others affected by a dog issue in our neighborhood. Most of you have received an email from me dated April the 19th describing the frustration and issues we have had with a mother and her son who reside at 1010 Eastleigh. All the issues we've had relates to their dogs running loose in our neighborhood. I know this is minor compared to everything else that has went on tonight, but this is a serious issue for us. Their defiance of law enforcement and animal control telling them to contain their dogs has brought us to this point. I will make this short. First, let me say our dog problems have definitely been better this last week, possibly because animal control indicates we have a May 10th 8 a.m. court date regarding this persistent issue. In the past, requests made by us for our neighbors to keep their dogs contained have always been met with some kind of excuse. I have 2 house payments at the moment. When I sell my other house, I'll put up a fence, or I have my son's student loans to pay off. I'll get to it when I can. Or I just really can't afford to put up a fence at the moment. After 2.5 years of these excuses, and with the incident on March the 16th involving my grandchildren, my patience is very thin. It's hard to reason with people who say they think we called the police to have them arrested say they fear someone is going to poison their dogs, but think nothing about continuously allowing them to run loose. It is as though we are dealing with some ill-tempered, spoiled children, not adults. We've had to install cameras to prevent them from disturbing survey markings until we could put up a fence and to try and discourage them from coming onto our property. Over the past 2.5 years, we have tried to be patient, civil neighbors. It just hasn't worked. The fence we are installing on our property covers 218 feet. The steel posts were installed last Thursday, and they are finishing up today. Much to our relief, we are hopeful this fence will relieve some of our problems, but our fence will not fully contain their dogs to their property if they are running loose. A rather large portion of their side yard facing East Lee remains unfinished. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
I'm Charles Beaver, and I reside at 8005 Marywood Place. I've been there for a little over 40 years. My backyard is adjacent to the backyard of the people that live at 1010 East Lee. And there's a rock wall that divides the 2 yards. It's probably 24 to 30 inches tall. We have a little Yorkie dog, very small, weighs about 10 pounds, and we let her out in the backyard some. And there's 2 German Shepherds that reside at 1010 East Lee. Well, we had trouble with these Shepherds coming in and out of the yard at various times since the people moved in over there. And I'm a dog lover, so I never thought a whole lot about it and given it a whole lot of consideration. But May the 5th last year, our little Yorkie was out in the backyard, and these Shepherds came over the rocks and got a hold of her. She was very lucky, or we were very lucky too, that it did not kill the dog. I took her to the vet. I did call animal control, and they said there was really nothing they could do because they didn't see it happen. They advised me to take my dog to the vet. I did, and she did not have any serious injuries as far as she did not require any stitches or anything like that. So, that night I went over and talked to people at 1010 East Lee, and the young man that answered the door asked him if he was responsible for the Shepherds, and he said yes, he was. So I explained the situation to him, what had happened, and I told him I was concerned about his dogs coming in our yard, and it had got a hold of our dog, and I had the $93 vet bill, which I thought was awful reasonable. So he said that he was apologetic, and he said he didn't have the money right then to pay the bill, but I went home, and about 45 minutes later, he came up there and he had the money, and he paid me the vet bill. And I asked them, to keep their dogs out of my yard. Well, for the next several days, the dogs would be in and out of our yard. And I went back and talked to them again, and they had all kinds of excuses. But anyway, this went on most of the summer last year, and in the fall they built a fence between my house and theirs, a privacy fence. So they took care of the issue there for me. They paid my vet bill and built a fence, so it took care of my problem. But the dogs have still been running loose in the neighborhood, and I've had reports that they're going down to Jerry's house and coming up the street on Marywood in front of our houses. I have not actually seen it, but I've heard other neighbors say that. But anyway, I just wanted to add a little fuel to the fire here about the dog situation.
Thank you, sir. The next speaker, would you be prepared to come forward?
My name is Charles Cabot. We live at 8210 Holiday, right across the street, the people we're talking about. Avenue. Me and my wife come in from Walmart's about 10:15 one night. We had a 4-pound, 6-ounce Yorkie. The dog got out of the car, went around the side of the house, and was attacked over Sherwood's. Broke his back, had to put him to sleep. That broke my wife's heart and mine too. But I had a 9-year-old granddaughter that belonged to that dog. The dogs run loose pretty regular. Most time at night when people don't see them. They've been singing all the way to Kill Avenue. These dogs have attacked 4 dogs and has killed 1. As the old saying goes, 3 strikes and you're out of the ball game. They've had a good taste of blood. It's just a matter of time, as one of your council members said, before they attack a person. Then that is love. We're here to try to prevent that. The dogs are dogs, but a person's a person. If a kid gets attacked over dogs, who is it from? Is it the landowners that own the dogs? Or is it the city who has been warned that these are vicious dogs? The boy that owns the dogs lived with his mother, has personally told me on 2 different occasions that the dogs will attack anything and have been trained to attack anything that comes on their property. And I looked at the young man and said, even a kid? My response is 0. I just thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
My name is Sherry Passon, and Esther Norman and Jerry Norman are my parents. They live at 8103 Marywood Place. They've been dealing with this for the past 2.5 years. I've been dealing with it for the past 2.5 weeks extensively. Let me give you a little history of why we're concerned about the dogs, other than what's already been said. I used to work in Wyoming on an Indian reservation where the level of violence was 5 to 7 times the national average. Unemployment's 80%. Suicide rate is double the national average. The thing that concerned me most on the reservation were the dogs, because they just roamed, and they had rabies, and you didn't know what was going on. Both my parents are retired post office. They've both been bitten by dogs. I think you see where I'm going with this. Police animal control have done an excellent job, but there comes a time when if these dogs just roam the streets and they've killed another dog, and as Charlie Cabin said, the kid said, I train my dogs to attack whatever comes in the yard. I think everybody's read the email that I've sent you. I mean, you know about the force of a bite of a German Shepherd. I would think this would present some liability issues to the city if these dogs were to attack someone else. There's a number of things I want you to take away tonight. Parents have had to spend $6,000 for a privacy fence. This is a privacy fence. This will not keep the dogs out. Because the neighbors have a very low level of intelligence, they will not realize this until it's too late. They will think, well, the fence will go up and the dogs will be fenced in. That's not going to happen. By the dog's actions, that it meets the definition, in my belief, of vicious dogs. Sherwood residents should not be required to have to videotape all the incidents. a stretch, but we've had to buy 2 cameras, put up on the side to keep them out of our yard, keep the residents out of our yard. It was $129. You get a video camera, put it up somewhere, and you can monitor every day how the dogs are just roaming around. And I've already said the most important thing, which is that he admitted that he trains his dogs to attack. If you are even 1/10 as angry as all we are about this situation, please provide some meaningful relief and deliberate relief. I don't think a $10 or $25 or $50 fine is going to cut it for these people. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Is there anyone else to speak?
Steve, can we, because this has been going to court, can we even discuss this?
I think the best thing to do is let it come with clean alignment and see what happens there. Because we're going to address it. Animal control has followed us for a while. Citations have been issued.
Okay.
And I appreciate what we heard tonight. That helps me in terms of how we'll pursue that.
I totally agree. I think we've got to do something. You get a vicious dog, it's got the taste of blood.
And I've talked,
Back home, we would have put 22 in his
I've
head.
spoken to Mr. Hassan, and I think their frustration comes with that they feel like it's almost, our vicious dog ordinance is almost a self-help ordinance, in that, they're told that, well, if we're not there to see the dogs out off leash, then we can't give them a ticket because we didn't see it. So you're going to have to come up with evidence that the dogs were out. So you need to film the dog or something. You need to go out and film the dogs when they're out, or come up with some sort of evidence that the dogs were out or something of that nature. And it's almost a self-help type situation, which makes it difficult, especially when you've got vicious dogs. You feel like you should be able to call and say, we've got vicious dogs next door, they've attacked a dog in the neighborhood and they're walking across my yard, that's enough. But then it turns into a he said, she said when you get to court. And as a lawyer, I understand that, when you get in front of a judge and it's just 2 people and one of them says yes, one of them says no, the judge can't do anything. It's he said, she said type situation. Steve, I guess that's one of the problems we have, the evidence issue. But their frustration, and I think the reason they're bringing this to us, is they would like us to see if there's some way we could fix the ordinance to make it friendlier to the citizens who are trying to enforce it against people who are violating the leash law in Sherwood.
What can we do?
I really don't know. I'd probably research and see what other cities might have done who faced this, but I don't know off the top of my head. I've thought about it.
Is that something Robin could maybe do, since this falls under her expertise in terms of researching what others?
Let me just say this, without going too far. Robin's staff are very good about calling me on cases like this, and they've been following this case for a while. We had a meeting in my office about this case and talked about what to do and how to pursue it, and it's on the radar with them. And Robin is good about watching trends and making suggestions to me about tweaking ordinances and changing things around. They're good. It's a good group of folks, and they're doing the best they can.
What was their
any criticism of them, of their staff?
No, I didn't take it as criticism. I just wanted you to know that it's on their. They're on it. They issued citations that we're pursuing.
And also, I do know the police department is also, this is on their radar, that they're also, if it's after hours, they're watching out if these dogs are out. So, it's how far this has gone, that the police are actually trying, if so, they're aware of the situation in the area also.
And I think too that we've had enough people show up here tonight to speak of this issue, so it's more than just a he said, she said. We have several neighbors that have had this issue, and I know the cabin very well, and I know how upset they were when their dog got killed. So I think it's an issue we need to address. Maybe the court date will give us, a projectile forward, and then maybe we can look at our ordinance and see if we can clean it up a little bit. Sure.
Thank you. At this time, announcements, take back.
Oh, wait a minute, I had an additional new business issue. I just had something, Beverly and I talked to Captain Hagar, before the meeting, if he could come up here for a second. I wanted to address, first off, thank him again for his wonderful work on the terrible tragedy that happened in the parking lot of the Bill Harmon Rec Center this last week. But then also wanted to ask him his opinion of if there's anything he thinks the council can provide funds for or can do to help, as from a lighting standpoint, from a camera standpoint, anything we can do that would improve that parking lot, make that parking lot a safer place that might have, I don't know what I'm saying, to deter that type of activity in that parking lot, or might have made your job easier if we had different equipment or had placed the equipment differently or had more equipment there. Is there something we could do? Because that was not just in the parking lot of the Bill Harmon Rec Center where we have, one of our top facilities for youth, but also right next to one of our elementary schools, and we hate it that it's anywhere on city property, but that particular location was especially tragic.
I'm not a security expert by any means, and I will say this, and I know Sonny and his staff, I'm sure they certainly have some concerns about the safety over there in light of what happened. The only thing that I can tell you, just from a standpoint of, I've reviewed a lot of video surveillance from over there in the last few days, and there are some gaps in those cameras where you can see that facility is used, and Sonny can certainly speak to this better than I could, but in the evening time, there is a large number of teenagers that use that facility. They play basketball. 99.9% of them great kids, I'm sure, but where you have teenagers, you're going to have a few delinquents in the crowd. And the one thing about that facility is that it became pretty obvious to us pretty quick where they're familiar with where the cameras are. They know where cameras are. So, if there was more lighting in the parking lot, if there were cameras, in the parking lot, all of the cameras are attached to the building, as far as I'm aware. So that might be something to look at. There are a lot of kids that hang out there. My biggest concern would be for the staff coming in. They close late and they open early. So, there is traffic in there coming in late at night and early in the morning. But
and I think that the staff, Sonny, parks towards the back of the parking lot as well, so they walk across the long distance parking lot, possibly even out of the camera view when they're going to their cars.
There is a spot that's towards the burn that doesn't get picked up by the camera. Now, we could probably add some more cameras to the light poles and have that, like you have at City Hall, to get some more, eyes on the parking lot. Of course, I don't know about the lighting. The lighting looks adequate to me at that particular time. I think more cameras on the light poles might do it, because we don't want to make it look like the police department over here. We don't want kids and everybody to be welcome to come into the center, but maybe one or two more cameras on the poles might help us out, have more surveillance.
I think we just need to review it internally. And it's not just that facility. We just had this discussion in the department head meeting, not the last one that we had, that we just need it more citywide. There's other buildings that we need to cover also. So we'll work internally on it. I think we need to.
And if any funds and whatever. Thanks.
Thank you. Any more new business? Drug take back, April 30th, 2016, 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. Sherwood Chamber Lane before the swing, shrimp boil is gonna be this Thursday, April 28th, at the Metropolitan Building. Tickets $10, 5 to 7 p.m. 2016 Sherwood Mayor's Youth Council moves at the park. Outdoor seating begins at 7:30. On May 20th, Narnia is gonna be June 24th, Inside and Out. Not Inside Out's the name of it. 20th Annual Sherwood Mayor's Prayer Breakfast will be Tuesday, May 3rd, 2016. Server line opens at 6:45 at Sherwood Forest. Tickets are $10. And also there will be a prayer rally at the flagpole on Friday, May 6th, 2016, 7:45 a.m. sharp, Sherwood Police Department. Are there any more announcements? Move to adjourn.